I was typing the last name on my guest list when my mother's text arrived. Family will prioritize your sister's wedding. We can't make yours. No exclamation point, no softening, just a verdict. It landed like a latch sliding quietly into place on the other side of a door. I didn't argue. I stared at the blinking cursor, typed, "That's fine," and shut the laptop. A week later, while they zipped dresses and adjusted boutonnieres for Olivia's big day in Boston, the internet learned what no one in my family had bothered to ask. My ceremony was already unfolding under olive branches at a hillside villa in Tuscany. When the photos started circulating, the silence from home told me everything they hadn't. People ask what childhood felt like in our house. From the outside, we were postcard perfect, matching sweaters, rehearsed smiles. But if you watched long enough, you'd see the orbit. Everything curved back to Olivia. Mom's face brightened when she walked in. Dad recited her dance trophies like scripture at dinner. When I brought home science ribbons or straight A's, the conversation skimmed past me as if I were the weather. "Lucky," Mom would say, patting my hand. "Your lucky things come easy for your sister." Lucky sounded like an eraser rubbing out every hour I'd worked. There's an album in their living room that tells the story without words. Page after page of Olivia twirling in pink, Olivia cutting cakes, Olivia at prom. I appear once or twice, cropped at the edge, a shoulder without a name. When I was 16, I found a photo I remembered standing in, and found my face trimmed out for composition, Mom said. I didn't cry. I simply recalibrated. If the picture didn't have room for me, I would stop reaching for the frame. Only 2 people consistently saw me, Grandma Eleanor, who leaned close at loud dinners to whisper, "Some folks only notice what glitters, sweetheart," and my cousin Maya, who remembered my birthday even when everyone else forgot. But favoritism doesn't explode. It seeps. By the time we were grown, silence felt safer than truth. When Olivia skipped my college graduation, Mom called it a mix-up. When she borrowed money and never returned it, Dad said, "She's finding her way." So when the wedding text landed, I wasn't shocked. It was the final, tidy footnote to years of being the adjustable one. The daughter who bent so others could be comfortable. Except that night, something shifted. I looked around my apartment, the cedar candle burning low, the hum of the fridge, my invitations stacked in neat piles, creamy envelopes sealed with gold wax, and understood I was done petitioning for a chair at a table that kept shrinking to exclude me. Logistics is my trade. I've built a company on integrity and precision. In my family's dictionary, logistics had become a euphemism for betrayal. 2 days later, Olivia called as if nothing had happened. Her voice sparkled. She wanted something. "Can you believe it?" she chirped. "Our dream venue opened up last minute. Same weekend as yours, but that's fine, right? You're on the West Coast, we're in Boston. Destiny." She actually said destiny like a greeting card punchline, then waited for my applause. "That's great," I said evenly. "Perfect timing. I knew you'd understand. You're always so reasonable." Reasonable. My assigned role. The next evening, Mom rang, wearing the careful tone she used when she wanted to disappoint me without feeling guilty. "Sweetheart, about the dates. Olivia's in-laws can only do that weekend. She's emotional. It would mean so much if you could be flexible." "So you want me to move my wedding?" I said. A pause. "We just think it would be easier for everyone. You're independent, Izzy. You'll understand. Easier for them." Not once did she ask the cost to me. "You promised you'd be there." She sighed as if I were troublesome. "It's not choosing sides. It's logistics." That word hit like a slap. I hung up and called my father. "You know how your sister gets," he said gently. "If we don't go, she'll take it personally. You've always been the strong one." So my job, again, was to understand. When the line went dead, the apartment felt like a held breath. Light from my rings scattered across the wall in tiny, fractured shapes. That's when it became clear. My family's loudest weapon was omission. They edited me out, then called it peace. Not this time. I opened a bookmark I'd saved months earlier. A stone villa outside Siena, its terrace draped in vines. Honey-colored walls. Shuttered windows. A grove of olives silvering the hillside. I booked it at dawn and bought 2 tickets to Florence. No announcement, no debate, just action. When the plane slid low over the Tuscan hills, the light felt different, soft and forgiving. I rented a tiny car and followed a road lined with cypress until the villa appeared, older and lovelier than any photo. Terracotta roof, sun-warmed stone, the dry hum of cicadas. The caretaker, Signor Bianchi, placed a ring of keys in my palm. "This house waits for someone who sees it," he said in careful English. Inside smelled like earth and sun. The rooms didn't judge. They invited. I walked from space to space and felt it. This wasn't a getaway. It was a blank canvas. I hired local craftsmen who treated beams and bricks like heirlooms. Their laughter mixed with the tap of hammers, and at dusk I'd sit on the terrace sketching the courtyard layout. One long table beneath grape leaves, strings of lanterns, no family table, no hierarchy. Just seats for those who chose to show up. The villagers called me La Signora Silenziosa, the quiet lady. I liked the nickname. My silence wasn't submission anymore. It was strategy. When I told my fiancé, steady, loyal Jonah, he didn't flinch. "If this is what peace looks like," he said, "I'm in." For the first time in my life, I believed someone meant it. I rewrote the invitations. Plain envelopes, olive leaves tucked inside, notes written by hand. The first went to Maya, the second to Grandma Eleanor. Replies came fast. Maya called. "We heard what Aunt Marilyn told everyone, that Olivia's wedding is the main event. We're done pretending. Send the details." Grandma texted. "I've missed enough Real love. Tuscany, darling." A group chat formed and named itself The Real Table. They posted passport selfies and suitcase photos. For once, I felt chosen. 2 weddings dawned under the same sun. In Boston, the ballroom glittered under chandelier light, too bright to hide the empty chairs near the front. Mom, flawless in lavender, smiled too hard at the door. Dad checked the entrance, then his watch, then the entrance again. Bridesmaids whispered, "Where's Grandma? Didn't she always sit in front?" Olivia's smile thinned. The photographer suggested moving guests forward to make the room look fuller. Across the ocean, the same sunlight spilled over our courtyard. The villa glowed like a painting. The long table was laid with clay plates and wildflowers. Lanterns lifted and fell in the breeze. Maya's children chased one another between 2 olive trees. Ari tuned a guitar. Grandma Eleanor sat in the front row with a twig of olive in her fingers. "For peace," she said. My dress was simple silk, the kind that catches light when you breathe. Julia, the chef who'd become a friend, pinned olive leaves in my hair. "For truth," she whispered. When I stepped out, Grandma rose first. There she is. For the first time, I believed her. No orchestra, no choreography. Just Ari's guitar, the rustle of leaves, the sound of people who had chosen to be there. I walked toward Jonah thinking of every empty chair back home. Missed birthdays, unreturned calls, graduations explained away as confusion. Every seat here held a face turned toward me. The officiant, a neighbor with kind eyes, said, "Love isn't measured by the size of the guest list, but by who shows up." The sentence fell into place like a final tile. When it was my turn, I didn't read. "To those who show up," I said steady. "This love is for you, who believed before I had proof, who stayed when it wasn't convenient." Grandma dabbed her eyes. Maya squeezed my hand. We ate pasta dusted with truffle and rosemary, drank young red wine, and listened to stories that sounded like home. The lanterns blinked on as the sky deepened to violet. It wasn't perfect. It was real. Halfway through dinner, Maya showed me her phone. "They've seen." Photos had slipped into family threads. The table glowing, the olive grove, Grandma lifting her branch like a quiet banner. In Boston, while Olivia posed for portraits, a bridesmaid gasped, "Isn't that your family?" "They're in Italy." Olivia snatched the phone. On the screen, Jonah and me beneath those lanterns, our people gathered shoulder to shoulder, Grandma's branch raised like a blessing. Olivia froze. The photographer lowered his camera. The murmur spread. "Is that Aunt Eleanor? I thought she was here." Mom peered at Dad's screen and whispered, "What is this?" He went pale. "It's Isabel's wedding." They went to hers, Olivia breathed. No one had an answer. The band played on. No one toasted family unity. In Tuscany, Julia poured more wine. "Eat," she said. "Remember why you came." Grandma reached for my hand. "I've waited a long time to watch love do what it's supposed to do." Later I walked the grove alone. The air smelled of wood smoke and lavender. My phone buzzed with missed calls and voicemails I didn't open. The next morning, with coffee under the olive tree where I'd spoken my vows, I listened to Mom's message. "How could you do this to us? Everyone's talking. We look like fools." I deleted it. They thought humiliation was punishment. The real consequence was simpler. understanding I didn't need their permission to build joy. A day later, Mom called again. I answered. Not for her, for me. Do you have any idea how embarrassing this was? She started, voice trembling. You made us look heartless. I didn't make you look any way, I said, watching sunlight travel across the stone. I let people see the truth. Silence. Then Grandma's voice, firm and clear, cut in from the background. Marilyn, enough. You've asked this girl to shrink for your comfort for years. She finally stood tall, and you're calling it cruelty? No, it's freedom. The call ended quietly. No slam, no last word. Just soft air. I stepped outside. The olives stirred like a sigh. Julia wiped her hands on her apron and asked, All well? Better, I said. Quiet in the right ways. That evening, I set one extra plate at the head of the long table, the seat that used to be empty, and tied a small olive green ribbon around it. For the girl who waited to be chosen, I whispered. The wind lifted a lantern, and for the first time, I didn't feel erased. I felt free. Grandma had it right. Love isn't management, it's showing up. You don't have to beg for space at someone else's table. You can build your own, and the right people will find their way to it. If this story found you at the right time, tell me where you're listening from in the comments, tap like, and subscribe for more. Sometimes the quietest revenge is peace.